Does this sound familiar? You start thinking about everything that you need to accomplish, whether that's at work, at home. Then you start to think about all your visions and your dreams and the plans you have for yourself. And then all of a sudden, your heart starts racing. The ideas start swirling inside of your head, and you're paralyzed. You're stuck. You don't know what to do next. I am currently in this season right now where I feel overloaded. I feel sometimes really get stuck and often feel a little paralyzed, quite frankly. I've got a lot of information that I've been consuming in regards to my visions and my dreams of creating play spaces for adults to reconnect and overcome burnout and move towards creativity and joy. I have my day to day work that I'm doing, and then you add on the layer of life and dealing with all that life has to offer, the anxiety, the heart palpitations, the ideas swirling, the lack of sleep, lack of rest, all those things pile up. And where does that leave you? Where do you go from there? How do you get out of this conundrum before it leads you to a deep, deep burnout state where your body starts to shut down, where you start to shut down, and then you can't act and you can't think until you nurture and heal your wounded soul. So today, I want to talk a little bit about how do you get out of this overwhelmed state before it gets you? And what are some ways that I look to relieve the burnout that I might be experiencing here and now, or the burnout that I'm trying to avoid, which I will say right now is more like an avoidance strategy. I can feel it coming. And how do you listen to the signs of your body, what your body is telling you about where you are and where you need to be? So let's take a look at 3 things that we can do, yes, me and you, to avoid burnout, overcome burnout. That's right in front of us. And before it becomes too late, before we dive deeply into the lack of rest, the lack of joy, the despair, the deep overwhelm where it feels like there's a block or a weight sitting on us where we can't like move or bend or grow or flow, right? What can we do? Well, the first thing that I thought about doing is getting it all out in a list. Lists are great. Write down everything that you need to do. Don't avoid. If we can get it out of our head and out into on paper, into the universe, that's when we can take a little bit of action. So create some lists. What do you need to do around the house? What do you need to do for work? What do you need to do for your visions, your passions, your dreams? Get it all out there. Maybe if you don't like writing lists, mind maps are a great way to connect all the dots, right? So the personal and professional are all intertwined, and the interpersonal. You can't really have one without the other, and they all need to function in a harmonic balance. I don't like to say balance, but symphony, right? A harmonic symphony. And we should recognize that. Mind maps are a great way to connect those dots. So, drawing a little circle, writing a word, drawing some spokes, connecting it to another word, and so on and so forth. Great tool for getting out what is in your mind and mapping it onto paper. That will start to relieve some of the anxiety. The other thing is, number 2, add structure. For me, when I'm when I'm feeling that swirling motion and feeling a little out of control, it's because I'm lacking structure. It's because I'm just piling one thing on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. And I'm just going without pausing and thinking about what structures will help me feel less anxious, breathe more deeply at night. Some structures that I am putting into place right now is a Kanban board. Kanban board is a great tool for watching, for putting out your task, seeing yourself progress through those tasks, and constantly revisiting them and reprioritizing based on where you are. Based on where you are, that's when you can make your next strong move, your next move. And along with those Kanban boards, design thinking is a great process, human-centered process for problem solving. And the great thing about design thinking is that you are framing the problems in the present. What is the current problem that you need to solve? You're not trying to solve all the problems, just the most important one in this moment in time. So those two structures pulled together can be very powerful to giving you a great sense of control. And design thinking is a process that I utilize in my work all the time, but I utilize it outside of work for a variety of places. I've done several workshops with groups of folks to help them think about the structures that they need to set in place, but that are unique to them, right? Everyone has their own unique experience, circumstance, and problems. And design thinking is a great way for us and you and me to attack our problems that we have that are unique to us. And so that structure layered with a Kanban board is a big win. But I'm going to go for the low hanging fruit right now. And I am actually in the process of structuring a Kanban board that I can see every day in my space. And I'm looking around because I'm like thinking, where in my space am I going to put my tiny little creative studio office space? Am I going to put this Kanban board so I can see it every day? In the past, I tried putting them in like little, if you really don't have that much space, you can put them in a little manila folder that you open up and lay out on your desk every day. But I realized for me, anything that's out of sight, it is definitely out of mind. So for me, I'm realizing that I need the visual reminder to bring down the stress, to ease my mind, and to see that I'm making progress towards all the things that are swirling in my head. So try it out, a Kanban board. If you want to learn more, contact me. I'm happy to share more information about Kanban boards and how you can use them to add structure and bring a little added control into the situation that feels very chaotic. And the last thing I'll touch on today is scheduling play. This is the one piece of these three things that I am very good at, scheduling play. Okay, with caveat. I am good at scheduling play activities for myself. I've gotten into watercolor painting, and I have been scheduling all types of classes for me to play in. I follow a woman who offers a weekly watercolor ink drawing class, and I'm doing some other things that if I put it on my calendar, I will go out and I will do these things that are part of community. This is why I'm also offering community in my Facebook group, Innovation Sanctuary, Move from Burnout to Creativity and Joy. If you haven't found that space yet, please join us there. I'll put it down in the notes. But if you want to find it now, just go to heyinnovationdoctor.com/bliss. It will get you there. Sign up, join us. It's instant weekly scheduled play. That's easy to do with a lot of low-hanging questions and reflections and activities that will get you playing and moving into that creativity and joyful place. The other ways that we can play, which is a caveat that I just put in there, was that I'm not doing very well, but I've been listening to a podcast today about play and rest. And I think the other piece of play that I'm going to stick into there is rest. Rest is play without the activity. Hey, did I blow your mind? I just blew my mind. Rest is play without the activity. So, sleep. You can't function if you haven't been sleeping. And I know when I haven't been sleeping, this is when the anxiety rolls up. This is when the ideas start to swirl. This is when I start to feel that sense of being out of control. So I was reminded today that rest and good sleep are an integral part of this puzzle. And play. Whatever that play is, schedule it, get it on your calendar, and commit to going. It's not enough to just stick it on the calendar. You have to commit to getting yourself there. And even if you have to drag yourself there, do it. You are worth it. So for today, when we're thinking about avoiding burnout, when we know we're spiraling out of control, when we know that the anxiety is building up, our heart's beating a little faster here and there, when we can't get out of we just can't get to clarity because we're in such a fog of ideas and things that we need to accomplish and what we want to accomplish and how are we going to do this all, and think of these three things. One, get it out of your head and onto a list. Write it down. Write it in a journal. Create a list. Do a mind map. Get it out of your head. 2, add structure. Use a Kanban board, design thinking. Put it all out there so that you can see and celebrate your progress. That is super important. And lastly, schedule play. And with play comes rest. So play and rest. Those two things we need in order to function fully. And hopefully, the next time that you're moving towards a burnout or find yourself in a little burnout state, these three things will help you climb your way out or avoid a full crash completely. So, if you're looking for a place, a scheduled play, remember you can join me and many others in the Innovation Sanctuary, move from burnout to creativity, joy in my Facebook community. You can find it at heyinnovationdoctor/bliss. And before I close out, I'm going to leave us with a little creative affirmation. I have many of these card decks. These guys have put out 3 different creativity affirmation card decks, and I love them so. And I'm just going to pull a card to send you off into the world to think more about avoiding burnout, and what it will be, and it always seems to align with where we are. So let's take a look. I am happy and free because I am me. I am happy and free because I am me. And on the back, there's always a little explanation, so I'll read that to you. Resistance gremlins sometimes surge in the form of insecurity. Unload your machine gun of confidence to defeat them. When you believe in yourself, there is no need to convince others. Johnny might have bigger muscles and a sweet Fu Manchu, and Millie might have bathtubs full of Benjamins, but comparison is the thief of joy. Move forward with the confidence of a bare-ass toddler running around with his diaper on his head. When you love and accept your differences, the world will love and accept you. Go out there, be happy and free, because you are you and I am me.